Consumer goods heavyweight Nestle has sustained significant losses. Now, for more on trading activity today, I'm joined by Andrew Tsaku, an analyst at Investment One Financial Services. Andrew, it's great to have you on the show. First of all, tell us how the market has done today.
Yeah, basically at the end of trading, from the feelers I'm getting, the market ended up, in the red, posting in excess of 1% decline overall, and I think largely the banking sector, remained dominant on that performance.
GTB has gone down 6.71% since the earnings came through. Did we see gains in that stock today?
Yes, it posted marginal gain, today after losing so much yesterday. I think some confidence kind of returned to that stock particularly, but that was not sufficient to change the direction of the market. No thanks also to the lackluster performance from the industrial giant Dangote Cement.
Now we're coming to the end of Q1 and the index is still, pretty down. Are you surprised by the way the market has done so far this year?
Yes, surprised because, the January effect came and went. We didn't see much happening around it. Now we're in the earnings results, season, and we haven't seen so much impact coming from, investors reacting, particularly, on the positive side to the releases so far.
Yeah,
so that, to some extent, represents some level of surprise. But my confidence, lies not so much in the reaction, but in the fact that the results haven't been that disappointing, for the market. However, emotions and sentiments still remain shallow.
Yeah, you mentioned earnings there.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be enough to boost the market going forward? Because the earnings that we've had so far haven't really done much for the market.
Part of the earnings results that we've had have come from two banks, and those banks represent certainly, some of the big names in the industry. One would have expected that the positioning by investors would have been a lot more than we've seen, but that hasn't played out. I think that, the carry-on effect of this might affect the release that might come from some other banks going into the future. So to that extent, one hopes that investors' confidence will not remain at the level that it is now. However, I think also that investors, who are looking beyond the immediate horizon, have very fantastic opportunities of making incursion into the market space because the prices certainly are getting relatively cheaper.
So do you think that we could see a turnaround in the next quarter, in Q2?
My expectation remains that way, but you never can gauge the market perfectly. However, I think the point for the investor is to look beyond just the market reaction at the moment. The releases so far tend to create some level of confidence that should encourage investors to take positions going forward.
Now, the oil and gas index was down yesterday, down 3.7%, largely driven by losses in Forte Oil and Owando. How did that sector do today, the oil and gas?
Yeah, the oil and gas sector also was not spared, by the general decline of the market today. They didn't quite perform as expected. And one characteristic, of all of this is the fact that volumes are beginning to thin out, and levels of activity certainly are also on the decline. So it's a kind of pervasive performance across all sectors.
So, given all this, how should investors be playing the market now?
My take and my advice to investors will be that they should approach the market from a select basis, look at opportunities, that present growth prospects for the future. As a matter of fact, for the companies that have already made their declarations, the dividend yields are relatively fantastic to my mind, and I think a stock like Zenith, GT, with the kind of payouts that have been announced, I think they should represent a sure bet for investors to look at.
So Andrew, say I'm a new investor and I'm saying to you, can I have 5 stocks that you think that I should be investing in this year? What would you say?
Yes, I've been quite vocal on Zenith and GT so far. My addition to that list will certainly be a Dangote Cement, a Transcorp, a Dan Sugar.
What about in the agricultural sector, Okomo Oil? Is that a stock that you should, I mean, some analysts are saying that's one that we should be watching.
You gave me a restricted list. Okomo remains on my buy side. Of course, they have made some declaration recently, and I think the payout is not, even though not comparable to what we're accustomed to, but it's a sure take for investors.